Just to be sure, there's a spoiler. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 paints Mandy as its true villain, although this isn't really Emily Osment's character's fault. The Big Bang Theory franchise continues to live on CBS despite Young Sheldon's cancellation in 2024. After Sheldon's childhood in Texas ended and he moved to Pasadena, California, to attend Caltech, life went on for the rest of his family back home. In the new show, the focus is on his brother, Georgie, as he and his new wife, Mandy, navigate their new life as parents to their baby daughter. Because not much was revealed about Georgie in The Big Bang Theory, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage has more creative freedom to craft its story, unlike Young Sheldon, which was limited by the established canon. There are only two things that the new show needs to follow through on. 1. Georgie eventually becomes a successful tire businessman, and 2. He and Mandy get a divorce in the future. While the Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 finale clearly sets up the former, it doesn't fully commit yet to the latter. Still, the show is painting Mandy as the story's antagonist. Welcome to Movie Spy. Mandy is depicted as an unreasonable and selfish character in First Marriage. Baby Cece's mom is shown to prioritize her career over her family. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage is born out of the accidental success of its lead stars pairing. It's no secret that Osment's guest starring role was only meant to be temporary. However, the response from viewers motivated the writers to continue their tandem. In light of Young Sheldon ending, CBS looked to them to keep the Big Bang Theory franchise alive, resulting in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. While the spin-off started with the focus on the pair working together to deal with the new challenges brought upon by the next stage in their lives, things started to change towards the end of the sitcom. In the two-part Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 finale, it's revealed that Mandy has been keeping the fact that she has been working with her ex-husband from Georgie and the rest of her family. Going back to her progression as Medford's local weather girl, it's difficult not to associate her quick ascent to prominence with that, especially considering how Scott engages with her. Mandy tries to assuage her guilt by bribing Georgie with material things, but once her secret gets out in the open, she becomes extremely defensive. For what it's worth, Mandy has always been clear that she still wants to reclaim her spot as a media personality. While there is nothing wrong with that, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 1 just usually showed her insisting on this without showing why it's very important to her. She makes it a competition when Georgie easily makes a sale, and worse, even looks down on him because he doesn't have the same pedigree that she thinks she has. Georgie being First Marriage's hero doesn't help Mandy's image. First Marriage tends to only show Georgie's good side. Arguably, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage's depiction of Mandy doesn't need to be this harsh. There are ways to emphasize how important her career is and other flaws without making her look this bad. As previously mentioned, the offshoot can spend more time explaining Mandy's motivations or showing how conflicted she is between wanting to make a name for herself and being a good wife and mother. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage doesn't paint her as sympathetic, especially with Audrey, who has always been against her relationship with Georgie, making comments about how she could do better in life. However, it doesn't help that the show paints Mandy's husband as this hero type that can barely do anything wrong. Even when Georgie makes mistakes, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage always makes sure to soften them by highlighting that everything he does comes from a good place. Somehow, there's also a tender spot for him, considering what's known about her sacrifices to support his family after George unexpectedly died in Young Sheldon. His emotional confrontation with Sheldon in The Big Bang Theory looms over his ongoing story in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. Beyond the emotional impact of seeing Georgie's personal arc in the last few seasons of Young Sheldon, Mary and George's firstborn has also become very much like a ball of sunshine. He has been relentless in nothing but being nice, hardworking, and patient, not just to Mandy but to all the McAllisters. Compare that to Mandy's easily irritated and slightly manipulative tendencies, and it makes her look so much worse than she actually is. This doesn't mean that Mandy doesn't have any flaws. As established, she could be irritable and self-centered when it comes to her chances of reclaiming her TV glory days. For what it's worth, however, highlighting Georgie's bad traits won't excuse his wife's negative behavior anyway. Doing so would humanize baby Cece's parents in a way that's fair and more realistic. This helps Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage set up a more emotionally charged divorce when it finally happens, which is more compelling than blaming the split on just one character. First Marriage Season 2 needs to balance its depiction of Georgie and Mandy. Good thing the First Marriage has time to fix this storytelling issue. Luckily, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 offers enough time to rectify this situation. As already confirmed, Scott is sticking around, which means that Mandy will continue to work with him. However, it's also a good opportunity to prove that she's as committed to her marriage as her husband is. Regardless of what Scott feels, it's up to her to behave appropriately while moving her career in the right way. It would also be great to hear more of Mandy's internal thoughts about her insecurities, which could be the reason for her desperately wanting to have her own career. It's also the right time to show Georgie's bad side. Interestingly, Sheldon's brother hasn't always been this chirpy and perpetually patient. In earlier seasons of Young Sheldon, he was hot-headed and even crass. Obviously, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage can't just bring those traits back, particularly because it would strip him of all the character development he's had for years. However, there are other ways to ground Georgie, including showing more of him struggling and losing composure and juggling all of his responsibilities. Something that it used to do at the start of its run. Thanks for watching.